It's a pleasure to be here with Ehsan Ahmadi. Did I say your name correctly, Ehsan?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. Got one thing right already. So you're the CEO of VOX Solutions. You've been there, I think, 12 years now.
Almost 12 years.
12 years. Well, it's a real pleasure to meet you. I think the first time we had
Likewise.
a proper discussion. And before that, I noticed that you also worked in Accenture.
I'm the subject expert matter. They have a program in Accenture where they work with entrepreneurs or they're experts in different industries, and I have the pleasure to work with them on topics related to stuff that we are dealing with, like
Yeah.
mobile
Okay.
network operators, this and that.
So as a subject matter expert, what was your specialism?
Telecom.
Telecom. Okay.
Telecom,
Perfect.
TMT, what this is the way they call it, TMT, and but mainly telecom.
So in 2010, you founded Vox Carrier, which became Vox Solutions.
Exactly. Vox Carrier. We used to have two companies, Vox Carrier and Vox Technologies. Vox Technology more was focused on technology, and Vox Carrier on the transactional business, still trying to help mobile network operators and the communication providers on carrier services. And a couple of years ago, we merged these two companies, and Vox Solution was born out of it. And now we offer end-to-end solution to mobile network operators and communication providers.
Yeah, I know. I noticed on your profile it says building technologies and solutions to consider the pain points, turn the pain points into opportunities. The opportunities are for the enterprises, the MNOs. Who is your target customer? Let's say.
Our main targets nowadays are mobile network operators. We believe they have a lot of pain points that also could turn in opportunities, like fraud, like gray routes. All these type of pain points are I mean, they also incorporate some opportunities. If you solve them, you can generate extra revenue, which again for mobile network operators is very important. At the same time, I mean, second in the line, we indirectly also help enterprises by removing fraud, fighting artificial traffic, gray routes that impact enterprise user experience and customer satisfaction on the end of the day. We indirectly help also enterprises so far. So there are some overlap. For example, artificial traffic that nowadays is a big hype around, impacting both MNOs subscribers. I mean, they receive unsolicited messages. Some of them, I mean, like we had examples of subscribers that they receive unsolicited messages from Binance, and they was freaked out that maybe some hackers trying to hijack their crypto wallet. They went to police. So this type of horrible experience for subscribers, that MNOs came to us and asked our help to mitigate this type of fraud. And obviously, by mitigating this type of fraud for MNOs, we also help Binance or enterprises to reduce their cost, because this artificial traffic for them is cost, right? And also could also lead to brand reputation.
Yeah, of course.
People will not trust Binance anymore. They are thinking that it's not secure and so on. So directly and indirectly, directly we help MNOs nowadays, but indirectly also enterprises and I would say even whole ecosystem. We try to help everyone.
So that's a really good point that you raised on artificial inflation of traffic or SMS pumping. We just had, the hackathon in Genesis about this, and it was really fascinating to see all the different perspectives. But what do you think that companies can personally do to prevent this happening? I mean, if you see companies in the market who are doing that, I mean, do you get awareness of it? I mean, how do you react to them? I mean, what do you do to because it really is, let's say, making a huge issue with SMS. It's going to be a decline in SMS in the future if it continues. What do you think?
Exactly. Um, Enterprises, I think they took some measures so far, but most probably it is not enough. And nature of fraud is high dynamic, you know. So I assume that fraudsters also, it's very profitable business, and fraudsters are very dynamic. And
Yeah.
for enterprises also, it's challenging how to deal with that. They take some measures, and then fraudsters find other ways to go around. Especially smaller OTTs or smaller brands, which they have, like some of them, they are startups. They don't have resources. They are struggling with other type of problems, and they don't have resources to allocate to fight fraud like artificial traffic. Okay,
Mm.
especially these segment of small medium brands, we see that are highly targeted and highly exposed to this type of fraud, compared to big companies like Google or Meta or the major ones. But also the major one, they have problem, because you can imagine pumping millions of messages to from a small brand is difficult, but pumping millions of messages from Meta is easy, and they may even not recognize, right? Because millions nothing. And for fraudsters is very profitable. So um, on different scales, both small, medium, and big segments, to divide them in two, they are exposed, and uh, they do some efforts. We also try to help them, because there are part visibilities. We have higher visibility than them. Just an example,
Right.
we know if TikTok was under attack, and then we can expect Google to follow using same method, right?
Hmm.
Same method. So we are prepared. We prepare the algorithms. We prepare the machine learning algorithms. We train them with that pattern. Sometimes type of these type of attacks are easy to identify, to detect, like they use same ranges of the MSISDN.
Hmm.
Sometimes they are not easy to identify. They are more complex. But anyway, we can be, in some cases we can help them due of higher visibility that we have in different networks, with working with different brands. I would say even we're working with more than we are monitoring the traffic of more than 100 brands on more than 20 networks, okay, daily, on the daily basis, because we want to identify if there is gray routes, if there is trash, if there is any type of fraud, right?
Yeah.
In order to protect MNOs network. And obviously, we learn also about a lot about artificial traffic, and then we can help using and leveraging that knowledge to help enterprises and brands. So we try to help them with all knowledge, with all expertise, or leveraging our data, and experience, and also they do. But on the end of the day, the only way to mitigate that is technology, leveraging different type of different approaches. But on the end of the day, as a base, technology stay as a base. I mean, you cannot do anything if you don't leverage, or technology is not part of your strategy towards fighting fraud.
But
Anything.
isn't this, sorry to interrupt, but isn't this more of a cultural thing? I mean, because if you enter, when we started doing research in ROCCO on SMS, it was back in 2015, and at that time there were hundreds of aggregators. Now there's arguably over 1,200 aggregators in the world, all, some of them domestic, some of them international. And you could argue, or at least you hear people saying all the time, they're all doing a little bit of fraud. They're all doing a little bit. It's like there's not really any clean aggregator in the market. What do you think to this kind of statement?
This is Very good question, and at the same time challenging. I try to don't make not any but nobody too often, but generalizing is not the it's I cannot generalize, but unfortunately, what I think is even the one that are not actively uh, uh, looking for fraudulent activities or using fraudulent methods to stay competitive, indirectly they are exposed, or they are indirectly they are collaborating with the fraudsters. I'm giving an example. There is a lot of pressure coming from OTTs to reduce the cost of SMS termination. Right? They have different mechanism of least cost routing based on also quality, conversion, this and that, delivery, different. This pressure to reduce the cost and creating high competition between aggregators push them to start actively to reduce the cost. So even if they don't blend or if they don't use actively gray routes in the routing, when they go in the market and they look around, to find the cheaper alternatives or cheaper routes, somehow they promote or they encourage or they collaborate with fraudsters. And they claim they have no other choice because otherwise they cannot they cannot stay competitive, and they will lose all the traffic that they collect from OTTs and brands. So now it's an egg and chicken. Who to blame? Yeah. OTTs are very aggressive to reduce their cost. Okay, I can understand any company try to reduce the cost, right? Top aggregators try to stay competitive. MNOs wants to increase their revenue and mitigate gray routes and so on. So everyone has their reason, economical reason, but on the end of the day, because of tough competition and under pressure of shareholders, the stock market, I don't know, market in general, I would say, unfortunately, all the players are a little bit directly or indirectly
responsible.
Yeah.
And so isn't there a need in the market for something like an accreditation process or something like a code of conduct that can help? Do you think these tools could be useful, in order to ensure that there is a future for SMS?
If you look at this type of code of conducts or even regulations, they proven in most of the times they didn't work. So look at even regulation in European countries, highly regulated, and time by time, even big guys receive fines, and they keep doing. I mean, they receive continuously fines, and still, because the business is profitable, they pay the fine and they continue. So I mean, I don't want to name OTTs, but if you search on the internet, you see every 3 months European Commission gives some fines to some companies, and then after 6 months again the same fines, similar, and so on. So imagine where fines are exposed. They are exposed, to fines.
Yeah.
When there is regulation, still when it comes to the market economy, things. So there are good initiatives to have regulation, to have code of conduct. We are part of many code of conduct like MEF, like GSMA. I mean, these initiatives, they are good for awareness, but they are not enough. What I believe is,
they don't have the teeth to kind of really get the problem solved.
They can help with awareness, with just responsibilizing players, but I think we need to invest in technology. We need to innovate. We need to invest. I mean, just by code of conduct, theoretically saying, okay, I mean, it's not enough. We need to all the players need to invest in technology, do awareness, and be responsible. and working together. I mean, I believe OTTs first of all should realize what's happening. You look with Twitter, Elon Musk. It's a good approach. It was a good approach. They come and say, okay, look, okay, I'm not totally completely agree with the Elon Musk. These are not telcos that defraud them. It is not. I don't think it's 60 million. So I think it's a little bit. Elon Musk was not well informed about this topic. But anyway, he put the finger on the point, and starting to bring some wave, create some wave in the market. And it's, I mean, on the end of the day, gave us a heads up to everyone that we need to address this
Right.
problem. And I think on the end of the day, everyone should invest in technology, in analytics, and they're not available. Machine
No,
learning is not rocket science anymore,
no, no,
right?
no.
It's already, I mean, we have some discussion that a machine learning is already about past. Some companies talk about machine learning and AI is something like completely new. It's kind of soon will become old school. I think you see chat gpt, this type of things that going around. The machine learning and AI, they are very accessible right now.
Yeah.
Analytics solutions and technologies are very accessible. So I think if all the companies invest seriously a little bit in technology, we can have a big improvement. We can see big improvement in this space, rather than just, I don't know, trying that just to complain or blaming each other. No.
So let's move on to monetization, right? Because we all want that SMS survives and the MNOs better monetize what it is that they're offering in terms of SMS. Some enterprises would say maybe the MNOs are not quite thinking about SMS as a service, and they're not actually delivering it strongly or quality enough as a service. On the flip side, the operators need to make money out of it, and with all these issues that they have, like fraud prevention requirements, how can they monetize better? Would you say?
um, when it comes to mobile network operators, and by nature they are looking for stability, and making sure that everything is stable. This will prevent them or making hard for them to innovate, to try new things, to adopt new technologies. And here companies like Vox can help them. And I think today, even when it comes to A2P SMS, in many cases, the revenue that MNO is generating today is because of companies like us, that we went to them and we shown them the potential. We gave them the technology, analytics, so far, because firewall just can stand alone, can just help MNOs for fight spam, but it's not. And if you don't have analytics on top to see what is actually there, what is A2P, what is P2P, what is the use cases, where is the source of the traffic, and so on, you cannot build a monetize. You cannot have a monetization strategy. I mean, just so. And I think we can help MNOs further to monetize other assets as well, like A2P voice, which is for us is similar like A2P SMS as approach. There are use cases that can A2P voice can be used, and MNOs can monetize them properly. And at the same time, us being expert in this field, working closely with OTTs, we can secure the channel, making sure that the pipe is clean, the channel integrity is there, and build a sustainable long-term business for mobile network operators, and at the same time keeping enterprises motivated to use this channel. And then we can extend this, as I mentioned, to voice, to M2M, to IoT. of course, when MNOs will start to monetize IoT or M2M, how they call it, they're gonna see fraud there as well. So wherever is money, fraudsters, they find a way to step in and to do something and steal. So nobody can maybe imagine now, or there are some discussions, but there are not many. It's not very clear framework of how the fraud will look like in the M2M space, comparing to what we know about A2P space, A2P SMS space. But I'm sure that the next challenge can be M2M, can be other type of assets that MNO is willing to trying to monetize. And again, we end up to the same discussion that we have about SMS. We're gonna have about M2M, about other technologies, maybe 5G. I don't know. And this is companies like Vox should stay. We try to stay close to MNOs and always to even sometimes predict with help of research companies like ROCCO to try to predict what is the next challenge and what we can build in order to be prepared when MNOs need some help, some support to step in and to help them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it makes sense because a specialist vendor who is repeatedly looking at the same thing on various different mobile operators with all of that network, all of that understanding globally of what is happening, what trends are coming in the region, etc., is going to naturally be more effective than a local team. Even if a group of MNOs were sophisticated enough to have discussions together on what is the trends that they're seeing, they're never going to have that global perspective. And I think that makes total sense that a specialist vendor is needed. It may not be that they do everything that they need to do with you, but it's something that I think they need that specialism if they're going to really monetize on it.
I mean, totally agree. This is actually the basis of our vision and our mission on the end of the day. So at Vox, we position ourselves as a technology company which stay alongside with MNOs with all their challenges that technology is needed. And nowadays, everything is about technology. When it comes to innovation, you have a certain level of technology involved. And this is the space that I think we try to help everyday MNOs, and we're gonna help the MNOs from this perspective in the future as well.
So you touched before on machine learning, and we're in 2023, the year of Chat GPT. The year of the most commonly used phrase is regenerate response. It's like everybody seems to be at least getting inspiration from what Chat GPT is saying or doing. Now, I'm not expecting that you would have a Chat GPT solution already in place, but in terms of machine learning, this is something we've associated with fraud for a few years. How do you use machine learning today, or are you exploring that, or how is it progressing, let's say?
This is for us, machine learning is kind of already something kind of started to become old school. We are even thinking of what is next now.
Yeah.
We recently, when the ChatGPT was launched, first thing we did at Vox said, okay, we have a machine learning model, so a couple of models that we use for classification. Using patterns, sometimes our model can also, are implemented on completely encrypted and hashed data in order to classify the use cases and to classify the type of SMS, for example. So even without touching the content, by just hashed content, because in some, especially in Europe, it's a GDPR, so you cannot deal with directly with the content. So the contents are hashed, and our machine learning model can even with a high accuracy to identify the use case or the based on the hash data. I don't want to get to a lot of technical discussion, but what we did when ChatGPT was launched, first thing that funny thing we did is like, let's try with our data scientist team. Let's check ChatGPT API to see if our machine learning, which is built on purpose, working better in classifying some patterns or some content, or ChatGPT. Okay, obviously ChatGPT is not for this purpose. Was not built for this. But what we try, because if ChatGPT used to deliver a better result, then meaning that something is wrong with our solution, right? And our solution accuracy for on that exercise for that set of data and set of the tests that we put in place for that exercise deliver 93% accuracy and response time of 0.2 milliseconds, comparing to ChatGPT, which delivered after third time. So we try many times to in order also to train a little bit maybe ChatGPT, but the best we managed to get from ChatGPT was 54% accuracy and something around 0.9 seconds, not 0.2 milliseconds, 0.9 seconds. So obviously it was a proof that we are good, because obviously our model was built based on purpose, and it was obvious that the outcome must be much better than ChatGPT. But we just tried. So okay, let's try. If ChatGPT is better than what we built on purpose, then we have a problem. But and we continuously looking at different type of technologies that come in the market, and to make sure that we compare ourselves and we don't fall behind.
I've got a really tough question for you now. The question is, with machine learning, with this our ideas about AI, and the way that fraudsters work, because they're also using machine learning and AI. Let's say, can we predict what fraud trends are going to come? Can we get one step ahead based on what information is becoming available to these fraudsters? What we see in different markets, let's say, because this tends to go regionally, right? I mean, sometimes it starts in Latin America, sometimes it starts in Africa, sometimes in the UK. These things they move around. But I think predicting has got to be there.
This is from this point of view, yes, we are doing already that. So we have this predictive type of approach using machine learning, taking in based on historical data in some region. We can predict what's going to happen in other regions. Based on historical data in one MNO, we can predict what's going to happen in other MNO. So that type of prediction is in place already. It's quite short term, immediate, and is very effective. But when it comes to long term type of prediction, what's going to happen in 2 years from now, something that doesn't exist at all and we never seen in any market, that we don't have in place, and I don't think anybody has in place, but we can work on it, right? Still, that type of prediction we use on some extent the machine learning, but mostly is done by our team of experts. Okay, according to these patterns and what's happening, what could be in the next 2 years. Just give you an example of Flash.
Yeah.
In SMS, SMS trashing, 10, 20, 30%, sometimes even more in some regions, some networks for some brands. We see now artificial traffic, 5, 10, 20%, different regions, different brands. This, and then Flash, which for authentication so far is also cheaper than SMS, and there is no artificial yet. Will be maybe in the future, but yet there is no artificial or trash, right? This makes Flash become a superior product to SMS, right now. So even if you put the same price for Flash for authentication like SMS, it is cheaper just because there is no fraud comparing to SMS. Flash itself could be considered abusive type of, the way that it is used right now can be considered abusive because it is using P2P interconnect and pushing A to P. I mean, different use case, but that's a different story. But so coming back to fraud, we believe that this trend of fraud in SMS, which make the SMS to fall below Flash as a product, can push Flash in the next period of time to be adopted more and more by brands. But afterwards, Flash itself also will fall to the same type of problems and the same type of fraud could fall the same type of fraud that SMS has today, because also Flash can be trashed. We call it in voice false answer supervision. In SMS, you call it, the trash is fake delivery. So when you trash, you give a fake delivery signal, and then this is actually the technical term for Flash, for trash. Sorry, for Flash, because it's on the voice, is a false answer supervision. So you can give false answer supervision or false connection or call progress. I mean, type of signal, and charge and bill the enterprises. And obviously, enterprises will realize, and they start to put conversion rate measuring in place, similar to SMS. So we expect Flash also in the future, voice, to go through similar type of fraud like we have in SMS. So we try to be now prepared for so Flash adoption may increase because of fraud in SMS, but Flash itself, when the adoption is starting to increase, fraudster will step in on Flash as well and trying to trash Flash, to fake Flash, and so on. And then we try to be prepared. So from this perspective, if we look at this angle, yes, there are certain level of layers of prediction that we have in place, part of them based on our expertise and human analysis, and part of them supported by AI and machine learning. So we have a combination right now.
You just got me thinking of something which I thought, if the security industry is employing their own hackers to test if their solutions can be hacked, shouldn't the aggregators be employing their own fraudsters to detect potential fraud, to predict fraud, to see what could emerge? Is that something that companies should consider?
We have this white hat type of hackers concept for a while in the market. We have a team right now at Vox that we call them testers. Okay, there are, I think, 15 people that they try to do different tests, and in order to kind of Q&A test, or trying to find bugs, trying to find vulnerabilities of our firewalls or our systems. But we don't have yet any external source to there are some testers doing penetration testing type of things, doing gray route testing. There are some, we also work with them as external sources to test our solutions, but it is quite limited. So comparing to white hat type of hackers that we see in the other in the security or cyber security space, what we see here in the fraud on the telcos, they are quite limited. So there is not, they're not advanced. For example, there are some companies that do jump some tests using some hubs or using some pretending they're some OTTs, and that's all. But they don't do some very deep type of auditors or very deep type of simulating attacks and so on, like trying to spoofing GTs, trying to generate fake traffic, trying to do different type of stress tests, such as the one that we see in the cyber security space. But it is a good idea. Hopefully, many companies like this to come, and also to help us to get better and better. Yeah, very good idea.
So, in terms of next 5 to 10 years, what can we see? What will we see in the monetization space? Would you say
Um,
more machine learning, or
obviously, without machine learning and analytics, it's very hard to monetize properly the any asset. Okay, even look at in other industries, so we can get inspired by other industries. Look at WhatsApp itself. How you think WhatsApp making the monetizing their business WhatsApp depend on based on the use cases? Do you think that is someone watching the reading all the I don't know messages? Okay, this is transactional, this is authentication, this is notification. Obviously not. They use analytics technologies and AI technologies, machine learning technologies. So and MNOs obviously they have they need to go to the same path, and we are here also to help, and we are building analytics and anti-fraud solution, because once you realize what is there and you want to monetize, then you need also to protect and make sure that this is happening and everyone paying for the product. So these things, this monetization strategy goes always with analytics, machine learning, and anti-fraud or firewall together.
yeah,
So once you identify a fraud using machine learning and analytics, you need to have the ability also to stop it, not just to watch it, right? Because analytics and machine learning can show you this is here is a fraud or this is opportunity, but then you need anti-fraud, you need firewalls to stop the fraud, right? And to redirect the traffic or the business to the right channel and monetize where you can monetize properly those services. And I think that will happen also for voice. Flash, we see a trend of MNOs looking for analytic solution to identify Flash, to monetize Flash, or to block Flash, whatever. We're gonna see it in M2M. I assume we're gonna see it in all type of use cases that MNOs getting prepared to monetize 5G. They invested a lot of money in 5G infrastructure. They need to monetize it, and I cannot imagine any monetization strategy which without machine learning
yeah.
technology, without analytics technology, and without sort of anti-fraud or firewall or something that enforce the strategy.
So, bearing all of this in mind, we mentioned machine learning. We mentioned various types of fraud that we can see in SMS these days. Is there any other trends in the industry that you're seeing right now that you think would be interesting for the industry to know about?
Okay, there are a lot of philosophical discussions around. I let analysts that they do this type of prediction or analyzing trends to look at this. But what we are we're very focused at Vox is monetization trend, where the MNOs are desperate to increase their revenue.
Yeah.
They are desperate to protect their current revenue. They are keen to compete and keep up the competition with the OTTs and enterprises that are much agile, much faster, and much innovative. They lost a couple of battles against these folks. They don't want to be a loser always.
Yeah.
And they are looking for partners. And at Vox, we believe there is a lot of things that still can be done. We don't know even 10% of what we can do, and MNOs can do much more. There is a lot of opportunities to monetize different type of assets. I mean, just an example: many MNOs, they don't monetize their data at all, right? And that's their data is gold nowadays, and it's not about and they can monetize this data by respecting all the regulation,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
GDPR and everything. So that's just that's the, I would say is something that they most of MNOs never touched it, or it's not touched at all, and
Sure.
that's gold mine there. M2M, we see very basic monetization about M2M. M2M has there are different use cases willing to pay more for M2M connectivity, and there are other use cases that are not. I mean, the potential is not that big, but they charge all the M2M use cases the same way. I mean, you can imagine. There is a lot of things that we can do, and this trend of monetization of the assets we believe will continue. MNOs will look to monetize more and more their asset. They could imagine we have over $40 billion, according to many studies, of A2P SMS that 10 years ago doesn't exist. It was zero,
Yeah.
right? So now we have $40 billion. And I think M2M can become also a similar thing. And if you add more products and more services, data, another maybe multi-billion or tens of billion, who knows? And I think MNOs is starting to look more and more in this space because they just cannot they cannot increase the rate to the subscribers. Due of competition, and the ARPU in most of the places are the same or declining. So they start to look at B2B space, to look at other spaces, other assets to monetize.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on machine to machine IoT, of course, that business is growing, but they need to get a piece of the pie. I mean, often it's not going necessarily to telecoms suppliers, right? But there's obviously a machine to machine, and IoT is growing massively. So yeah, I think that's a topic which is very interesting because it's just not monetized well enough by the operators, owing to, I think, how it's structured or the processes that they have for it. It's not really kind of properly standardized in the industry. So it needs more attention. Yeah, we definitely need to focus on that.
I mean, I'm sure that companies, automotive companies especially, willing to pay more to mobile network operators if they receive the right solution and the right attention and the right services.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, for mobile network operators, it's just they throw a SIM and they say, okay, this is it. And most of the time, it's treated the same way they treat subscribers, consumers. Sorry. But when it comes to MTME, they have different needs. They need platforms. They need that different type of treatment. They need different type of monitoring, quality of service, and so on. If MNOs willing to invest in offering a best of services for automotive industries, their first choice or the main choice is using mobile connectivities for their connected cars. But today what we see a gap between what MNOs offering and what these guys need. Once this gap is covered, I think enterprise is willing to pay a correct amount, a higher amount for the mobile connectivities, and MNOs can monetize big time this M2M, just this talking just about this vertical, okay? And then obviously there are other verticals as well, but again, here they need expertise, solutions, platforms, and we are here. I mean, this is just in an exclusive way. I'm going to announce this is the next monetization of M2M is the next platform that Vox is going to
I
launch.
see. Okay. Yeah, because for me, it's clear that you're right. The consumer, the operator is very well used to working with the consumer. They more or less, the consumer doesn't have the same needs for quality that a machine-to-machine device is going to need. So the whole security aspects, of course, are something which they need to review very carefully and understand. What can I be doing more of? And that's not to say they necessarily need to pay for that themselves. They pass on that charge to the enterprises who are looking for those reassurances, right, in the industry. So I think it's a good way forward. And anything else Vox is planning for the rest of 2023?
No, I think it's enough. We try to stay focused, Jason. I mean, focus is in order to deliver excellence and good service, you need to stay focused. If you go too broad, I mean, too diversified, you end up, especially in the smaller companies like us. I think we are 200 people, close to 200 people. So we are not a 5,000 people. So we try to stay focused, stay as expert in different in couple of fields, and to deliver the best job, rather than, I don't know, having 10,000 employees doing 100 products and none of them to be very good.
I think you're right. I think if you can really focus on good customers and adding value and benefits to them, that's great. So, well, Ehsan, thank you so much for your time. Anything else you'd like to say? Anything else you'd like to pass on to the industry?
Well, thank you very much, Jason, for having me and to have this beautiful dialogue. I wish to have more. So maybe we can have every 2-3 months to have such a dialogue. I used to learn from you and from other thought leaders in the market. And you are a big contributor to shaping our strategy, understanding the market, and building products in order to support future trends. And I would really love to have this type of conversation more and more with you, and to have a kind of dialogue, it's not like an interview. Maybe
Yeah.
next time I interview me, I will interview you. Who knows?
Well, I'm really happy to be interviewed. It's just how long you want to interview me for, because I can talk and talk.
That's good. Since you
Well,
are, I mean, when you have valuable things to share, it's good to talk. I mean, it's a very good opportunity. As I said, I consider this as a dialogue. So during this call, I also learned a lot. Questions were very good, and topics are very good. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ehsan. It's a real pleasure to talk to you. And yeah, let's do this again. And until then, let's see what we can do to fight the fraud and to monetize better for the operators.
Of
Because
course.
it's certainly something that they need.
Of course.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye-bye.